it by myself, but I'm a force when we're together. Mommy, I'm good all by myself, but baby, you make me better.
All right. Hi, everybody. We are responding to a comment from one of our subscribers, Offensive Neorealist. He asked, question, marriage kills love and respect, or is it only the love as the source of a strong marriage? And his other part of that was, he has a confession that he is, I am afraid of getting married. What to do to deal with this? Okay, so we'll answer both of them in one video. So I understand him to be asking, do we think that marriage kills love, or do we think and respect, or do we think that love is the source of a strong marriage? And I think that marriage is what you make it, and what you put into it, and what you're expecting out of it, and all of that stems from your background. For me, I have an example of a good marriage. Yes, my parents had their ups and downs, but after 46 years, they're still together through a lot of trial and error, through a lot of issues. So I think that marriage can either be enhance your marriage, enhance your love for each other and respect for each other, or it can kill it. And for me, it enhanced it. I didn't want to get married again, and not that I was against marriage or anything. I just was like, been there, done that. It's not necessary. Ron and I were together a long time before we got married, as most of you know. And I didn't feel like I needed the marriage to solidify my commitment, because I was already committed. But after I got married, it was all a mindset thing and a heart thing for me, because after I got married, the commitment felt stronger, and it felt more permanent, and I was just more proud of it, to be honest. Like, I felt a mind shift for me, and it wasn't even a societal thing or anything like that. It was just me. Like, I felt a shift in the way I treated him, in the respect that I had for him. And sometimes you don't even realize that. What's wrong?
I don't like that in, out. You don't notice that it's doing that.
I'm not even really looking at it all. I'm looking at the scenery that we have going around us too. So
yeah, if he keeps doing that, we're gonna have to switch. I don't like that in and out.
So for me, marriage was about the piece of paper. Like, we don't really need this piece of paper. It's just, we're already committed to each other. My heart is fully in this relationship. But when you listen to the vows, and if you believe in God and you take religious vows, they mean something. And they meant something to me. But when I got married the first time, I remember that I was just saying words, honestly. And I got married in a church. But with Ron, we went to the Justice of the Peace, and he still said those words, and those words meant more to me. They really meant something, and I was ready to actually live out those words. And so for me, marriage made our love, for me, it made my love and respect stronger. And I can see how for some it might make it weaker, or it might cause problems, because it just depends on the spirit in which you go into the relationship. Now, I'll let you answer your perspective on that part of it, and then we'll go back to the second part.
Well, she was just telling you what she believed, but I have questions for you, because I honestly don't know how to answer what you ask me. I can just give you how I feel, and I can just say, what are you afraid of? Obviously you're afraid of something, and you're probably afraid of the things that I was afraid of when I was presented to this woman, and I knew I wanted to marry her, because when I was younger, my friends will tell you to this day, when I was early teenager, I'm talking 13, 14 years old, I didn't want nothing to do with marriage. I just wanted to have girlfriends, and that's it. So I really I didn't want the commitment, because I didn't want to grow up. So I don't know what it is for you that there's something that you're probably afraid of. Is either you're afraid of the commitment, either you're afraid of the getting hurt, and I was afraid of all of that. You know, I was afraid of the getting hurt part. I was afraid of just not want to be in a committed relationship, because let's face it, when you dealing with someone, you have to answer to them. You have to deal with those people. I'm sorry, you have to, I'm a little distracted because someone just pulled up to us. You have to deal with that person. You have to let that individual know what are you doing, where you're at. If they're going too long, they're worried about you, or you worried about them. So for me, it was just more, it's not just about me. I have to take care of her. I have to take care of myself. She has to take care of me. She has to take care of herself. So it was more of a, why do we have to do all of this? But it's a respect thing. It's something where you have to, it's not about keeping tabs. If I'm at work, my wife don't call me 18 times out of the day. She'll text me or call me once, and that's it. And sometimes it's about nothing. She just want to hear my voice. So you just got to ask yourself, what is the doubt for you? You know what I mean? You have to figure out what that is, because let's face it, everybody out here is not marriage material. Everybody don't want to be married. The idea is cool, and bragging rights, yeah, and having this fairy tale marriage, but after 2 years, most people get divorced anyway. And don't be afraid of that. Sometimes your first woman you fall in love with and you want to marry, that may go well, and God bless you. But sometimes, like my wife was married the first time, and unfortunately it didn't work out. It's fortunate for me, but
unfortunate for me,
it didn't work out. So my biggest thing to you, Offensive, is just don't be afraid to get hurt, because life happens, man. You know? Mm-hmm. So that's how I see it.
And you have to think about what you want out of the relationship and what you want out of life, because you know, if you're going into it, like I know for a lot of women, they want the big ring, they want the bragging rights, they want the big party. Okay, well, you can buy yourself a nice ring. You can throw yourself a nice birthday party and wear a ball gown. You know, you don't need to get married to do those things. You have to realize that beyond the party is a lot of work and a lot of commitment. And it's being committed even when you don't feel like being committed that day. It's loving someone beyond the feelings and realizing that love is not just a feeling. It is a commitment. And you have to love somebody through all of that. So I think that you have to realize, you know, what you're looking for in a relationship. And if you're afraid, there's nothing wrong with being afraid. Life is exciting. Life, you know, sometimes you're living in those fearful moments. Like that's when you're really truly living, when you have that beating heart and you're afraid to do something. You know, you have to know yourself well enough to know, is this like, is my adrenaline pumping because I'm being warned to not do this, or is my adrenaline pumping because it's exciting and it's something that I really want and I'm afraid of it? So, you know, you have to weigh those things, because there's sometimes, you know, there are things that we want and we're going after them, and you get the sweaty palms and the sweaty armpits, and you're nervous and you're anxious, but it's because you really want it and you're afraid it's not going to work out. But then there's the fear because there's a big dog coming at you and you don't know what he's going to do. Those are two different types of fear. So you have to realize what type of fear you're dealing with and why, and then address those issues.
And marriage does you put marriage kills love. I agree with that. And the reason why I agree with that is marriage kills love if you let it. You have to know how to like me and my wife, I killed love towards the middle of our relationship because I was being disrespectful. Like I was doing and saying things that were wrong, and I didn't realize it because I was being a boy. I was being childish. I wasn't being a grown man like I'm teaching myself now. And every little thing that you say builds. It builds you as a character, and it builds you in your relationship, as whether it's marriage or just a relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend. So you have to watch what you say in your mind before you say it, because your woman will treat you the way you treat her. So if you're treating her messed up, you will get it back in return. That's just the way I see it. So if you're saying bad and rude and disrespectful stuff, you're going to get it in her particular way. She may not do it exactly the way you do it, but you're definitely going to feel it, and you're definitely going to see it that she's disrespecting you. Just you're not doing it the way she's doing, like the way you're doing it to her. So if you want to be respected and you want to be treated with love, you have to do the same thing from the beginning, and you cannot stop that.
Yeah. And there's a saying that, treat people how you want to be treated. And I read in a book a while ago, I think it was by Brant Hansen, Unoffendable. He's a Christian radio host, and he writes Christian books. And they can, really anybody could take lessons from his books, but it's about how to not be offended by every little thing, because today in society, let's face it, everybody's looking to be offended. They're waiting for it. And he said that, that saying, treat people how you want to be treated, but we should treat people how they want to be treated, because the way Ron wants to be treated isn't necessarily the way I want to be treated, and vice versa. The things that Ron finds disrespectful, if done to me, I don't necessarily find them disrespectful, and I can brush it off, and vice versa. So you have to, realize who you're dealing with and understand your partner and treat them how they want to be treated, not necessarily how you want to be treated, because that could be different.
And if you want to be respected, this is how you want to be respected, whether it's amongst your friends, amongst your parents, amongst your family, and especially your girlfriend or wife. You know how to be respected? Never, ever, ever go back on your word. If you say you're going to do something, do it. That's how you get respect, period. If you tell your parents, I'm going to the store, I don't care, from little things to big things to great big things. I learned in this relationship, everything that I said that I was going to do and did not do it, it eventually turns over, and you don't realize it, but they don't even half the time realize that they're losing respect for you.
Mm-hmm.
They losing respect for you because everything you said you was going to do, you don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And women likes to see progress
and consistency.
If you're doing what you say you're going to do, now if you fall back sometimes and every now and again you don't do something, every now and again is fine, but don't make it a habit.
Mm-hmm.
If you do what you say you're going to do, if you're going to take that person to grocery shopping, if you're going to take that person to go get gas, you're going to take that person to a concert, you're going to go take that person anywhere, you're going to take that girlfriend to the movies, or something came up, I'm sorry, that's where your disrespect starts to come in place, because now they don't trust you no more, and they want to know why you keep doing that.
Right.
So if you want to be trusted and you want to have respect, don't go back on your word.
Mm-hmm.
Do everything you have to do to be respected in that way, and raising your voice and giving fear, if that's your type of person. If you angry all the time, and it's a different type of respect. It's fear respect, and there's true respect.
Mm-hmm.
I want true respect.
Yes. Yep.
What else you got here?
I think that was pretty much what he asked.
Or is it only the love as a source of strong marriage? Did we answer that?
I did in my first part. Basically, to swing back around to that, I think love is yes, a good source of a strong marriage, but I also think more important than the love is the commitment. And I really believe that, because there are some times when Ron and I are not in love with each other. There are some times where we don't necessarily like each other, but we have that commitment to each other now, and this is, within the past 4 years, we realized that, bad shit happens, and either you're going to stick it out together or move on, because it doesn't make sense to keep hurting someone and going through that. Just move on. Like, love yourself enough, respect yourself enough, respect the other person enough to just move on or fix it. And that's where the commitment comes in, because there's not always love, there's not always respect, there's not always admiration for each other. But if you have that commitment and you remember that commitment, and I think I said it in another video before, there are times where I go back and read our marriage vows. And I think it's important to do that, because you have to remember, like, you took these vows. If you meant them then, and right now you don't mean them, you need to go back and read them and remember why you meant them then, because the love is still there and the respect is still there somewhere, and sometimes you have to get back to it and just start over and read your vows again. Remember why you took them before you even take them the first time. Read them and make sure you can commit to all of those things in your wedding vows. If you don't think you can commit to those things in your wedding vows, then you shouldn't get married. Or if you don't think you can commit to the things in your own personalized wedding vows, because you don't have to take the wedding vows of the Bible. You can take any wedding vows you want to take, but you have to know what you're committing to. If you need to write your own vows, if you and your potential spouse need to sit down and write your own vows, do that too. But make sure whatever it is, you can commit to it, because these are promises that you're making to this person, and you have to make sure that you can commit to always making those promises. Well, that's pretty much it. That's all I got.
You like to say that, don't you?
Yes, because I want you to know I'm done.
Just pause.
Excuse
All you gotta
me.
do is pause. I know.
Okay.
You don't have to say that. I agree with everything she said. That's really, I believe we answered everything. I agree with everything she said. I think marriage is just commitment, and like I said 7-8 minutes ago, just don't be afraid, man. And I'm not saying if you're a girl or boy, that's just the way I talk. You should know that by now. I just believe you just can't be afraid. Just don't be afraid of getting hurt. Don't be afraid of what could happen. Don't be that person and say, what could happen to me? Just, things are going to happen. You living, you're breathing, you walking around, you do what other people do. Things are going to happen regardless of whatever you think. So just live your life. Don't live it in fear. I mean, we have fear. Hell, I'm scared to fly. I've done it one time, and I already told my wife I don't know if I'm getting back twice. And I don't even know if I want to get back on a plane. But I did overcome my fear twice, and I did do it. So, sometimes some people can't overcome their fear. So if being married is a fear, you have to find it in yourself to say you don't have to get married. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you want to get married, then that's on you. Don't let nobody push you to get married. You know what I mean?
Right. And if you don't want to get married, go into relationships knowing that and saying that. You don't want to lead someone on 2 years down the line. You're fully in love with this person. They're fully in love with you.
Thought that's all you had to say.
Because you made me want to think of something else. And now you're like, I don't want to get married. And this lady's like, well, I've wasted my time for the past 2 years. So I think by like the 6th date, you should be talking about being sure that you don't want children, you don't want to get married, or you want to have children but you don't want to get married, or whatever the case may be. Because by the time you get into the 6th date, you liking this person, and they need to know where you stand.
And be a true, honest adult. And that's hard. And a lot of us are not that. Be a true, honest adult. So when you up front with people, they know what they're working with, and they got to make the decision, do they want to deal with this?
Right.
That's all we got, man. That's really it. Just do you. Just be a good, honest person. And I know that's hard. You can't be that all the time. Somebody push your buttons, you want to, and people get on your nerves. A female you with, she's annoying. I get it, but you be a responsible, honest adult. And I know that's boring and lame, but it's what it is. I've been edgy all my life, and let me tell you, some of it was fun and a lot of it wasn't. I'm aiming to be a good, honest adult, not a boy anymore. I've been a boy for 38 years, and I'm becoming a man at 39 to 40, and I'm 40 now. And I know putting your age out there is not a good thing, but I'm telling you, I've been a boy for a very, very long time. I've had a boy mentality for a long time. And when I'm telling you I'm trying to be a grown man, it's a work in progress, but I'm going to get it there. That's all we got. Hopefully that helped you. All right?
Have a good day.
Take it easy. Be breezy.
Bye.